Alright, so it's Sunday at about 2:30 right now, and I randomly decided in the middle of the day to go out and try hunting for the first time in California. Went through all the nonsense within California law in order to get a California hunting license and a deer tag. Didn't end up getting any ammo, so I'm just going to go out with a bow today and see what happens. The only ammo I got was for a shotgun, and let me tell you, in the state of California, that is a heck of a process. So anyways, we've had nothing but 90-degree weather almost, it seems like, for the last 2.5 weeks. So today's the first day where it's actually kind of cool. It's in mid 60s and it's been overcast, almost like it's gonna rain all day. So I figured maybe that'll bring the deer out. If nothing else, I'll get out, try out hunting on my new prosthetic leg and see how that works out, and also test out some of the new gear I got and whatnot. So maybe I'll get a little experience under my belt with my new situations prior to my more anticipated hunt in December. So let's check it out and see how it goes. Sure, the smart thing to do would be take my pack off, but sometimes it's, you just gotta be stubborn, do things the hard way. So one of the things about having an amputation, trying to hunt, is that it's completely different from how you'd normally hunt as far as getting in and out of an area. Before the amputation, I had some difficulty walking around, but nothing too terrible. For the most part, like, I still had balance and all that. I just get sore real bad, and so get worn out pretty fast. Now with the amputation, I don't really get sore like I used to, but what happens is that it's really hard, since I can't feel my foot. It makes it harder to balance, and also harder to obviously flex and move my foot since I can't control it. So it tends to get caught a lot on bushes, tall grass, stuff like that. A lot like how this stuff is, because that seems to be all that they have out here in California. Since walking through stuff like this, which just makes for an absolute nightmare. Not just because I have a prosthetic, but I mean even for the regular hunter, because of the fact that you got to find a place where you can see above all of that. And if you're trying to stalk, you can't stalk quietly through all this. So it's definitely a challenge out here. Different environment, not your typical tree stand, just sit and wait, take a nice easy shot type thing. So you got to kind of adapt, not just when you're having a prosthetic, but when you're hunting out here, vice back east or something. What I'm trying to do, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm trying to get to that flat kind of open area. It's a little elevated right up in front of us past that tree. So let's see. Okay. I think this is proving to be a little too much. Let me try and get out of this crap. Oh, man. Finally, some clear ground, and there's a game trail, so that always makes it a little easier to follow. Man, I apologize for the terrible camera work and unsteady view, but it's a reflection of the difficulty of just walking on this uneven terrain and the condition that I'm in. This is as good a place as any to sit, and it's super cool temperature wise and scenic as well. But as you can see, I didn't even go very far. You can see the road right there, but didn't even go very far, and I am clearly sweating profusely. You know, I'm not in the greatest cardio shape right now, but also that was just a straight pain. So we'll sit down here and watch for a couple hours and see what happens. Amputee problems here. Oh, need another sock layer. This little nub thing, absolutely fantastic to give you just a little bit extra. Sorry you had to see my chonies, but it's the life of an amputee. Don't really have a choice. When you need another layer, you need another layer. Can't really talk right now. So I came out here for another day, and I took about 2 hours just to find a spot to park before I was satisfied with a place where I could actually walk. It's so thick out here. I'll show you a clip of what it's like to walk into a place like this with a prosthetic leg. It's not easy, and I'm maybe 200-300 yards at most from my truck. I'm used to hiking miles, but it was really difficult, and it's it's kind of a little bit of a bummer, to be honest, because it's so hard to get in anywhere, especially out here in Southern California, with all this thick brush and stuff. So I really don't have a lot of choices on where I can hunt, and it also limits my abilities as far as like what I can do. So I have, I'm using my binos obviously, and a spotting scope and all that to get as far out, but I mean, I'm thinking it's kind of pointless, because eventually, even if I spot something, if it's less than 50 yards, like how am I going to get to it? So I mean, it might be kind of pointless to even be using these optics. But I think right now I just have to sit here and learn. I have to spend a lot more time learning the deer than I would if I didn't have a prosthetic. Because if I didn't have a prosthetic, I could walk around, have more opportunity to find sign. Right now I'm kind of limited to the roadside. I mean, it's a little disturbing that that's what I have to do. So I'm hoping that when I get to Arizona in December, even though it's just as uneven terrain and mountainous, that the openness and less brush will help me navigate the terrain a little bit better. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I just need to continue coming out here and practice. So learning new techniques, like having the little cap for my sock, I think made a big difference. So I can show, do a real quick video on exactly how I cut that up. And I mean, it's really simple, but these are the little things that being an amputee, what might seem like a small little hill ends up being, a gigantic mountain that you have to overcome. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't try and tackle it. So you just gotta, I think the biggest thing is having patience and learning that it takes extra time to figure these things out. So the more time that you dedicate towards it, the faster you're going to progress. And that seems to have been the tradition for me. So anyways, we'll continue to sit out here and see what we can see, and maybe we'll just get lucky if nothing else. But either way, we're always learning something. That's the important part. So it's kind of where we're at. We'll see what happens. So check this out. There's those 4. The 3 out in the field there, which the one in the back is a buck. Oh, and there's one more right there. Look at this though. You gotta be kidding me. On this side, it's an acre. And then on this side, open field right there, is ecological. It says no hunting. Well, it's about 1 minute away from official sunset, so I'm headed out and didn't see anything. However, after I got in my truck and started to drive off, I got just to the edge of the national forest into private land, and of course, there off the side of the road, about 114 yards, was a nice 3x3 mule deer. So not anything too crazy, but still big enough that I would have liked to have had a chance. But with only about 10 minutes until sunset, and the fact that I was sitting on the side of the road as well, I didn't really have much of a chance to actually go out and pursue it, stalk it, or anything like that. And even if I did, and assuming that I had gotten a shot, I would have been out here way past dark to try and actually locate and track down that animal after I'd stuck it. So not a good idea to try and do those types of things. So I decided to just go ahead and watch it from a little bit from the roadside, take a mental note of what it was doing and where it was at, and that was about it. So overall, I think it was a pretty successful day. It took me about 2 hours to get out to where I was. I didn't anticipate that, so now I know for next time I need to do a little bit more recon on trying to just get out to the national forest through the Southern California area. And in addition to that, all of my gear worked out really well. I'm really pleased with it. I have the pop-up 18 cubic inches backpack from Mystery Ranch, absolutely phenomenal. Worked really well. I had about probably 25 pounds, I think, in the back. All of that worked out pretty good too. It wasn't too much. It was just right, where I was able to carry everything that I needed, and also have have it all centrally located on my back, all nice and tight. Wasn't too much of a pain. If I needed to, I could have taken a shot with the pack on while I had it on. So overall, really satisfied with the pack. Also, my bino harness that I made worked really well. The only thing that was a little kind of a pain was the getting the rangefinder in and out. I made the pouch a little too small, and the zipper is really loud. So I'll probably just do a lanyard off that and just leave it with a lanyard instead, and then use the pouch for something else. But other than that, it worked really well, and also learned that I need to position my leg a certain way in order to hike around. So got that all figured out. And note to myself and anybody else who has a prosthetic leg and is out hunting, if it's your first time trying it out like it was for me, especially while you're in a check socket, definitely make sure you take enough socks. So I took one extra layer, and I think by the end I probably should have added one more. Maybe not just fine, but if I had to go any more than the couple hundred yards I had hiked in, which wasn't very far at all, that was just kind of for a quick short trip. So if I had gone any farther, I would have been in a lot of pain, and definitely would have been good to have a couple extra pairs of sock layers for my stump, or my Don Francisco as my wife calls it. But anyways, aside from that, everything was really good. Really enjoyed it. It was nice just to get out for the first time this year since having my amputation a few months ago, and actually get out and try and do some hunting, and if nothing else, just sit out amongst nature and watch everything that goes on. So it was enjoyable, and I learned a lot.